as a free journalist, I must say that the journalist profession is not well paid, and journalists sometimes make very little money. That's why they sometimes may be rude, obnoxious, or ignorant. And I believe that most journalists should be savvy, informative, and liberally minded, and trying to get to the core of the issues. Like sometimes Zakaria, that journalists who upheld the cause of peace, and sometimes Ali Velshi, who are the progressive journalists, CNN journalists, who upheld social justice and promised Americans to raise taxes against the rich people. I believe in social justice and believe in democratic ideals, and Democrats are not self-destructive as liars from CNN, imperialist neo-fascists who try to spread libel and defamation about Democrats. They are wrong. Democrats are not self-destructive. Democrats are constructive. They are positive, constructive, and very progressive personalities. It's unlike Republicans. Republicans are neo-fascists, who are prostitutes of American imperialism, who sold out to the rich people for money, for keeping them as concubines and male whores, who actually decided to oppose social progress. I believe that those Democrats who declare themselves the enemies of working class people, like Edward Kennedy, who once declared that at a press conference, he's a prostitute who sold out to the rich people in return for illegal campaign donation with a large sum of money. And I believe Edward Kennedy's disgrace, his pathological and homopathic hatred towards working class people only made him very sick mentally and physically, and the doctor had to remove brain cancer from his skull. And I believe that he actually wasted lots of nerves by turning himself into a prostitute imperialist, because he sells his own will. He makes his internal locus of control external, which is will lose his own mind. If you make your locus of control, your own power, will, and decision making somebody else's prerogative but your own, you will lose your own mind, because the person remains normal unless as long as the person retains internal locus of control, internal control of one's own will, one's own mind. And that's what prostitute American business sell for money. They sell their decisions, their rhetorics, their political face, and their political career to imperialist entities like narcomobsters in return for cash donations. And I believe this is disgraceful and counterproductive and should be condemned by law. Receiving bribes and illegal campaign contribution being condemned by U.S. Congress. And also believe that let me, as a free journalist, let me tell you about that. That I have to make my own living, because to pay for my board and accommodation, and actually for my living expenses. And also believe that Californians will support human rights in order for me to survive. Because if you don't support human rights, I will have very few chances to survive, because I've been target of terrorists. Let's say the guy I work with, Mr. Miles, a detention services guy from probation department, he issued me a terrorist threat on December 9th. He told me that he would blow up my car. He was spying on me. Asked me which whose car is mine. He pointed his finger at my sedan and asked me if it's my car. I said, yeah, the car is mine. But he told me that he would blow up the car. And also he told me that Mr. Miles, that young African American guy, who probably who was before that he confessed selling dope, selling crack, as he would sell crack even to his own mother. And as long as I condemned his substance abuse and dope dealing, he actually threatened to blow up my car. He also told me that he would blow up probation department facility in Selma. And I believe that over the way his supervisor treated him. So he actually did not say which way his supervisor treated him, but he told me that the director of the probation facility, Mrs. Garcia, had ordered him to report personally to her, and he got mad over it, and then he wanted to sue the probation department. But then I don't know, if he was involved in spiking my car's tire treads, with with screws, because somebody punctured my tires with screws, probably setting me up so the tire would blow up on the freeway. And I believe that his threat to blow up my car might be caused by these occasions of setting up my tires. I believe that my viewers will be glad to have such an event, because as a civil rights activist who fights for racial integration and racial equality, racial equality of all Americans, colored and white equally, because racial integration and racial equality, fight against racism, sexism, and ageism is primary my duty as a psychologist. Progressive psychology, I fight against racism, sexism, and ageism, and I condemn racism, sexism, ageism. Some psychologists and reactionary part of American public as homopathy, as a mental disease, psychopathy. Homopathy is a mental disease form of psychopathy based on pathological loving and hatred of people of different characteristics, such as characteristics may be different: race, sex, national origin, ethnicity, creed, marital status, and the like terms. But you see, homopathy and psychopathy is one of the subjects that being embraced and sometimes entertained by such reactionary Republican politicians like George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, who I consider responsible for 9/11 bombings success, who is responsible for criminal negligence of United States Armed Forces for not shooting down those terrorist-laden AA and United planes led by Arab narco-mobster Mohammed Atta, and those planes were navigated by professional U.S. commercial pilots from United and American Airlines, and also they had, I believe that conspiracy had an Arab mechanic who planted box cutters and knives in the salon of a plane beforehand, and this was done deliberately. And I believe that imperialist butchers, the Texan millionaires, actually paid significant cash money towards terrorist group, to their relatives, in order to organize 9/11 bombings. And they should be held responsible, because as long as George Bush was his imperialist policy of cutting taxes to the rich people and selling it as a kind of favor to the poor, working poor, the millionaires will spend those tax cuts money from the tax cuts in order to arm terrorists and commit more terrorist acts, like the way McAvey committed terrorist act, blowing up Oklahoma federal building with fertilizers dousing gasoline, and a truck as a firebomb, shell, like primitive but powerful bomb that destroyed the Oklahoma building. And I believe that right-wing ideas we should fight against. We should fight against racism, sexism, and ageism in order to eliminate terrorism in human minds. So people wouldn't want, mentally people like psychopaths, I hope they wouldn't want to resort to terrorism. Instead, we would desire to seek mental health. Like President Obama ordered national mental health coverage for all Americans in order to fight terrorism. That's why people will stay mentally healthy and would avoid resorting to terrorism. Terror will lose its attraction in the eyes of mentally ill people, because we will retain their mental health and we will reject racism, sexism, and ageism. Instead, we will embrace racial equality, racial integration, and mental health. And we'll be more knowledgeable about mental health and what's psychological dynamism of psychopathy and homopathy. We'll know that psychopathy, mental disease, based on pathological desires to follow deranged thoughts, and homopathy is also a specific form of psychopathy based on pathological loving and hated people of different characteristics. And I believe that fight against mental diseases is my actually civil goal in order to contribute to mental health of the American nation.